Well, Razorback fans, a little special edition of Locked On Razorbacks this afternoon, reacting to the Bobby Petrino Hunter Yurachek press conference. Let's get into it on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Neighbors. I am also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon on Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Monday, a little special edition of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast as we are reacting to Arkansas and Arkansas's press conference today with Bobby Petrino, Hunter Yuracheck. Pretty crazy stuff. But either way, let's go ahead and get into it. A few things that I wanted to bring up and dive into specifically. And we'll start with the Bobby Petrino angle because I think the Hunter Yuracheck deal has a little bit more to be discussed there as well. But we know that the defensive staff was fired. They fired everybody from the defensive staff for Arkansas, and it was a crazy, crazy thing. Well, here's Bobby Petrino, who had the call, made the decision of the firing of Travis Williams, Marcus Woodson, as well as Deke Adams, and what all went into that. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, first let me say how thankful I am to Coach Pittman for bringing me here and giving me this opportunity to come back to a place that I love. Very grateful for Hunter and Chancellor Robinson and the Board of Trustees for allowing me to come back a year ago and be an assistant coach here and then being able to do this. Whenever you make a decision, you base it off of, number one, what's best for the team. Number two, what's best for the individual players. And I felt that, it was in our best interest to do what we did this morning for our players to improve individually, get a little bit more motivated. And I think it'll help our team overall get out on the field and compete and find ways to win a game.
So a really tough call that was made by Bobby Petrino, but I think that what he had to say makes sense. I mean, the defense was pathetic, just to put it mildly. I think that sometimes when you have both sides of the ball and you have a new interim coach, there are some decisions that have to be made, some really tough decisions. And I'm not trying to say that I know all the right ways to handle it, but if you're someone in Bobby Petrino's spot, like, what do? You can't just say, oh, well, let's just hope that with me as the head coach, that the defensive coaching staff is going to be better, and you're not going to have that. Or if it's a situation with Bobby looking at where he wants this job, he wants to be the head coach at a more permanent basis of Arkansas. You can't just approach it to being like, oh, well, these guys I'm sure will buy into me. You got to make some tough decisions, some really tough decisions, and that's essentially what Bobby had to end up doing. So, but I get it. I think that everybody who watched that performance on Saturday gets it. And I think that they're making the right decision of moving on and really, really understanding how difficult these things can be. You need somebody who needs to be an assassin, as crazy as it is. You need somebody who needs to go in there and be that killer instinct of like, this is what we're getting done right here, right now. Got to move on. Like, that's what you need. And I think Bobby is the perfect man for that job. As weird as it is, Bobby Petrino is the man for that job, and I think he's best suited for it as well. But what also makes him really highly suited for this job is his love of Arkansas. Now, it sounds cheesy and cliche and everything, but we all know the journey of Bobby Petrino. Bobby Petrino being the head coach for 4 years at Arkansas from the 2008 season to the 2011 season. We know how great he was and how they went 21-5 in his final 2 seasons. Some of the greatest years, if not the greatest years, greatest stretch at Arkansas had this millennium. He's not the head coach again. It's still a crazy thing to think about. It means a lot to him, though. As weird as it is, it means a lot to him. Take a listen.
It's a special place. I mean, that's why I'm so fortunate that I was able to come back here, and I think that we've got to get it back to that special place where everybody in the state is behind the Hogs and everybody is proud of the Hogs. And that's our job. We got to go out on the field and give the energy and the competitive spirit and show the heart that we have in playing the game of football so everybody can be proud of us. And that's what we've got to try to do here the next 9 weeks is make sure that we can unify the state.
I mean, see, that's the type of stuff that's going to get me hyped because I do believe there is an element to that. And I do actually believe Bobby Petrino when he says it. You guys, everyone knows, I say this all the time. I'm a Bobby Petrino fan. He he loves it here. He loves it at Arkansas. He's a Razorback. He wants to succeed here, and he's choosing this. Everyone's like, oh, well, he's an egomaniac and all that. Man, Bobby doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't owe Arkansas anything. He really doesn't. If he didn't, he could have just mailed it in. He could have been, they saw the Pittman stuff happen, and he could have just been like, no, I don't want to be interim coach. I'm just going to wait for my next job because I want to get out of here. But he's not. Everyone's like, well, he's got his own ego. He wants to be the head coach. Exactly. But do you understand how much stress that is? How much of amount of somebody who's older in his age, you think he just wants to take that on for funsies? You think he's just like, well, he needs the money. Well, I mean, do you really think that he's going to go in there and expect to get $7 million a year from Arkansas? I mean, I truly believe him. I truly believe him that he has that desire, that energy to be back into it and to be able to get after it and to get after it again. I can't wait to see what it all plays out for Arkansas. So we'll have some more comments from Bobby Petrino and Hunter Yurachek. So stay with us here on Locked On Razorbacks. All right, Razorback fans, caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5-hour energy shots deliver tasty caffeine and 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot pack the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients. Those are pretty important. With 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What I love most is about how portable they are. The big taste, the tiny shot. You can take it anywhere and then get that boost whenever you need it. And they always have different flavors to choose from. But let's be honest, you want your caffeine to taste good and to work effectively without the crashes. Then what else do you possibly need? That's why you need 5-hour energy. Now, for the boring, flavorless caffeine, it's time to give your caffeine flavor an upgrade with 5-hour energy shots. Get the favorites you love or be bold and try something new. In-store or online at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon today. All right, so continuing on here with our Locked On Razorbacks podcast, just looking at it from the perspective of the Bobby Petrino angle as well as Hunter Yuracheck, because we're going to talk about Hunter Yuracheck a good bit here in a second too, and we'll probably save the majority of the conversation for the Yuracheck comments on tomorrow morning's podcast, because I think that there's a lot more that needs to go into it. But either way, it's about the messaging to the team. Like the guys are going to, Yurachek and Petrino, you got to meet with the team. You got to talk with the team. You got to figure out what's going on, where their morale's at and everything. Well, here's when they were asked about, what they're doing with the team in the comments. Here's what they had to say.
Yeah, the plan was to meet with the team this afternoon at 2:30. I've seen a lot of the players individually around the complex this morning, but team meeting's at 2:30.
What might be your message at that point?
Well, we got a number of things to talk about, but number one thing is that you have to get used to change. Your whole life there's going to be change. So how we handle that, our attitude on how we handle that, our positiveness on how we handle that, will determine how quickly we improve. We're going to improve. That'll determine how quickly we improve.
And Hunter, well, you have an address there too, and so many of the players on defense loved Travis Williams. Just maybe what your thoughts are there.
Yeah, I will be a part of that meeting, kick off that meeting and talk about some of my reasons behind making that change. And I like Coach, we still have 7 games left in this season. I think we still have a really good football team in that locker room and have the opportunity to win moving forward. And there is going to be a change and a lot of change and adaptability by these guys. And I think that's why the bye week is really key for that. And that will be similar to what Coach is saying about change. Change is a part of life. And how you respond to change will really tell you a lot about your life moving forward. And so I think we've got some really good kids in that locker room that will respond well to this change. It's not going to be easy for them, but that will be my message to them.
So change. I mean, that's to me, it's like a matter of, do you want to buy in? Are you all in? These are adults. These kids, they say kids, but they're also adults. And I understand that sometimes when we see things on the outside perspective and we see a way of how people react or how people are approached, if there's this no-nonsense, blunt, just straightforward, straight shooter, get your rear end in gear and get after it, it becomes across as a little aggressive. Comes across as a little like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like someone being talked to that way. They're not going to respond well to that. And that's fine. But so as many of you probably believe that certain circumstances call for something like this. It calls for direct, blunt approach. Hey, this sucks it happened. I'm sorry it happened. Let's go. Get up, get after it. Change is a part of life. Things are going to hit you in the face. Do you want to sit there and wallow in it, or you want to get going? Because I'm getting going. So come on. That's what I believe this team needs. Now, will it work out to where all players are all in? Will they miss out on any players into the portal? Time will tell. We'll find out here after a while. But the approach of it all, the approach of how it needs to be and how it needs to be approached is there. And if I'm Bobby Petrino, he's a no-nonsense guy as it is. But after getting rid of the defensive staff, I can only speak for what it looks like from the outsider's perspective. I can only see Bobby approaching this as a way of, all right, well, anybody that was going to be in my way or anybody that was not going to be on board with me or on board with what I'm doing as the interim, we need to get out. And it looked like from the defensive staff, those were the guys that weren't going to be a part of it. That didn't want to be a part of it, that weren't going to go along with Bobby. I'm not saying there's anyone to blame. I'm just saying that from the outsider's perspective, that's what it looked like. So now people are going to move on. And because of that fact, it's going to help Petrino get there. I love the response that he had when he was talking about his ability to, say, hey, we're going to improve. We're going to get better. It's a matter of how quickly, how much we improve based on the player's reaction, based on their reactions to him, based on the reactions to Yurachek, based on the reactions of everything involved. How much do you buy in? How much do you want to get after it? And how much do you want to do? It's the ultimate question. It's the ultimate question for this team. But that'll do it, because there's a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about on tomorrow's podcast, folks. Be sure to subscribe to us here at Locked On Razorbacks. Also, be sure to check us out wherever audio podcasts are found here on Locked On Razorbacks. We'll talk a lot about Hunter Yurachek and if Arkansas set up to win at a high level in football, and also Yurachek's admission of Sam Pittman not being financially set up to succeed. Wow. It's almost like somebody was trying to say that the whole time. I'm not going to do a victory lap, but still. We're going to break that down, have a lot more discussions. Appreciate everybody listening in, watching in. Same sports show, same sports channel tomorrow morning. We'll see you then, folks. Have a good one.